Hi, so Cathie Wood from ARK Invest just sold Tesla shares and bought massively into this particular company, and in this video we're going to talk about whether you should also be investing in this particular company. Hi, my name is Yong and welcome back to another episode of Stocks in Focus. So today in this video we're going to talk about sharing with you, right, how Cathie has already sold off some of her shares in Tesla, and she has actually piled into this particular company in just last week alone. Okay, and we'll talk about whether you should be looking and investing into this particular company as well. Of course, applying the frameworks that we are using from fundamental, technical, and of course season trends. And of course, I also share a view based on this week's earnings release. What are some of the companies that perhaps you want to keep a very close watch on? Okay, and of course, these are some companies that I'm personally looking into as well. So without further ado, let's dive into my computer screen and share with you some of these details that we talk about. Right, so with that, let's take a look at the amount of shares that Cathie has sold on Tesla, right? This is just based on last week itself. Okay, before that, actually Cathie has already been selling Tesla shares. Okay, but just to get you guys on the same picture, she is still holding on to Tesla, right? So basically what she's doing over here is just profit taking. Okay, and I'm pretty sure some of the hard Tesla fans right now will be like kind of, I don't know, criticizing this video, right? Saying that, no, that's not true, Cathie is still holding on to Tesla. Yes, right, she is still holding on to Tesla, but she is definitely taking some profits off the table. Okay, so you can see over here, these are the 3 trades that she had on Tesla last week. Okay, in total, she actually sold off 546,000 Tesla shares just last week alone. Okay, and of course over here you can see the weightage of the ARK fund, how much actually she let go. Okay, so that brings the total weight of the portfolio in Cathie's portfolio right now down to 6.52%, which means that generally combine all the ARK portfolio, Cathie actually in her portfolio, right, Tesla actually had a weight of 6.52%. Okay, and what is the one company that she got in? Okay, so basically she let go of some Tesla share, perhaps to free up a little bit of capital to invest in maybe opportunities that have a much higher probability of again rallying. Okay, and this company here is TSM, right? Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing. So last week itself, right, you can see over here, this is the 3 trades that she executed on 22nd of January. She bought a total of 487,000 shares last week itself. Of course, before that, she has been adding on to her portfolio as well. So that brings this TSM particular stock up by up to 1.46% weight in her entire ARK portfolio. Okay, so it's still relatively small compared to, you know, her positions on Tesla, but TSM over here is something that she has been adding on pretty actively last week. So let's dive into the framework that I use and see whether TSM over here, is it a company that is worth investing and whether you should be paying attention to that as well. Okay, of course, I'm not saying over here that whatever Cathie buy, you should be buying. I think that's not the proper way to do it. If you want to follow her trades, by all means, just invest into the ARK ETF. Okay, if you're doing copy trading kind of things, just based on what you buy it on your own portfolio. It's not as effective and efficient as compared to you just invest into the ARK ETF. Right, so let's go into, first off, of course, the fundamental quantitative analysis of TSM. Okay, so for those of you who are perhaps not familiar with what this company does, it's more or less in the same industry like Intel, ADM. Basically, they are producing semiconductor, right? So that is like chips related, your computer chips related. Okay, and of course, this industry is getting a little bit hot, it's getting a little bit popular, right? With Intel coming in, they have their new CEO right now, perhaps transiting into an in-house production as well. Okay, and then of course you do have Apple also producing their own M1 chips and things like that. But let's take a look at whether TSM is a solid company fundamentally, right? So over here you can see the quantitative score for TSM is indeed very high. Okay, our maximum score here is 21 and TSM score 19. Okay, so it's definitely in the green territory, and whenever I see a company like this, it's fundamentally solid. It's a very strong company that you can basically, I say, close two eyes and invest very safely into this company. Okay, so you can see the only perhaps little negative part here is the change in cash flow for last year was actually negative. Okay, but of course you need to also dive into details as to where they spend their cash on. Okay, but other than that, you can see everything is pretty positive. Okay, they have a very high net profit margin, which is good because it means that they do have some pricing power in the industry. Okay, so this is a very quick glance as to the quantitative fundamental scoring. Now, next up, I also put in the valuation model. Okay, of course, if you base on value investing, Graham's number, right now, in fact, actually, any company, if you're basing on this model here, you probably realize that it's overvalued. Okay, because of where the stock market is heading. But for TSM, because they pay off dividend, okay, annually they're paying off about $1.35. So I'm actually using the dividend discount model to give a valuation on TSM. Okay, and over here you can see that the current market price is about $129, and based on right now their expected dividend growth is about 10% annual. Okay, and I actually discounted them in terms of the terminal growth rate to 7%, and that brings the valuation to $200, which means that right now at the market price, TSM is actually undervalued if we are basing on this setting and this expectation, right? So far so good, right? It means that number one, fundamentally this company is solid. Number two, the valuation model here tells us that it's still worth considering to start investing into TSM based on the dividend point of view. Okay, now let me bring you to the technical point of view as well, the technical analysis. You can see this is on a daily chart. Since last year, it has been rallying, right? Especially after the March recovery, you can see that huge move to the upside. That's about 200%. Okay, that's fantastic. Right now, okay, would it be a good price to get in? Now, based on just fundamental, based on just valuation, it is. But if you are including a technical point of view, then perhaps it's not the best price to get in, okay, because we are at the very high here. Now, over here for stocks, I like to use volume profile to kind of like quickly identify, okay, where is the activity coming in, okay, and that's usually developing into what we call a support and resistance area. Okay, so for now you can see this area here, okay, it's a good price support if you're looking to perhaps get involved in. Okay, and that brings us to somewhere around $104. Okay, which means that if you're looking at the technical point of view, it will be a little bit, I would say better price to get involved when price retraces back towards $104. Alright, so that's a quick one to keep an eye on, take note of. Now let's go into the seasonal trends as well. Okay, now this one here, because we are looking to invest, I'm not looking to trade this obviously. Okay, it's a very solid company, it's good for the long term, it pays off dividend, it's a good candidate to be investing for dividend. So over here we are looking at seasonal trends as well. Now, if I would like to invest in a particular company, then naturally the seasonal trend here is I want to find out at which period of the year there's a very high chance that the stock price will drop. Okay, because when the stock price drop, that's my chance to grab some at the much cheaper price, right, at a discount. So over here you can see the seasonal trends for TSM for the past 15 years. Okay, between 3rd of May to 27th of June, there's a very high probability. Okay, so this is flip because it's coming down. So there's a 66% probability that price will drop. Okay, and the average drop here is about 4.12%. Okay, in other words, if I'm looking to get involved and invest long term into TSM, perhaps I would like to wait until mid this year, around like end of June period, to come back to the chart, okay, and see if it's a good time to get involved in. Okay, of course, 4% is a very minor drop, you can see. Okay, it's still not going to reach our price level of 104. But again, you want to have all this multiple techniques and methodologies, approaches to your analysis to give you a much comprehensive view as to where is a good price to get involved in. Okay, so hope that give you some perspective. I will be personally looking at it to invest in the long run for sure. Okay, but for now, it's not the price that I would like to get in at this moment. All right, so that's a very quick one on Cathie's stock. I think that's something that a lot of investors are actively looking at right now. With that, okay, I would also like to talk about some of the companies that's worth monitoring, because we do have earnings release, and the earnings season just started, okay? And this is not all the companies, but these are just companies that I'm personally interested in, and they do have earnings release this week, okay? And I'm just using this opportunity to share with you, okay? I'm not saying that you want to invest in all of them, but they are definitely worthwhile to take note of. Okay, you can see Tesla is also having its earnings this week. Okay, and of course the other companies over here, some of it perhaps you might not heard of it, but do your own research. Right, in this video I won't be able to focus on everything, it'll be so lengthy. Okay, but what I want to talk about is Visa, right? Okay, so now let's dive into the fundamental first on Visa. Okay, so Visa over here, based on the fundamental quantitative scoring, you can see is a score of 19, which is super solid, right? Same as TSM, which means close to eyes, is a solid company, is worth to invest for the long run. Okay, so pretty straightforward. Visa do pay off dividend as well, you can see, and what I like about it is that their payout ratio is very low. It's only at 25.43%, which means that the room for their dividend growth is still very sustainable. Okay, and their profit margin is almost 50%. That's crazy. Okay, so Visa is definitely a company you want to pay very close attention to, and of course, moving forward with digital payment and things like this, I think Visa has a huge opportunity. Now, if I bring you to the valuation toolkit, you can see see over here, Visa pay off an annual dividend of $1.22. And of course, right now, the dividend growth rate is a little bit to the high. Okay, they are growing their dividend at 22% per year. That's crazy. Okay, and I don't think it's going to be sustained for the long run. Okay, and that's why I have a very conservative estimate of a terminal growth rate of just 7%. Okay, but even with that, you can see that brings the valuation to $468. That's also like almost double of where it is right now. And okay, basically just tells me that right now Visa, based on this model here, is super undervalued. Okay, and it's worth holding on for the long run. Okay, now even if I be a little bit conservative and I drop this to like 6%, it's right now still undervalued. All right, so adding on to that, let's go to the technical chart of Visa. Okay, so you can see over here, Visa in fact has been consolidating for some time, and it really didn't break off that high back in 2020, right? It attempted one time together with the recovery of the March period last year, but it got rejected and it came back and then it got rejected again. Okay, so there was a few times it kind of like rejected this high at around $214. So from a technical point of view, that forms your resistance. Okay, but I believe that if this is a solid company, fundamentally you can see the direction is to the upside. Okay, eventually this resistance is going to get broken. Okay, the question is perhaps when. Okay, assuming that this company is still going to be a very solid company. So from a technical point of view, okay, I would say that this low here is pretty significant. Okay, this was established late October last year, and as long as price is above this, we are potentially able to look for opportunity to get involved in the buy from a technical point of view. Okay, and of course, if I were to bring in the volume profile from this period of time, okay, I wouldn't want to really pull all the way there because the consolidation is just going to give you a lot of volume, right? So you can see a majority of the volume is here, okay, and of course here, okay, if I were to go down to the 4-hour, perhaps it's a little bit clearer. Okay, you can see a little bit of activity here, and of course this area at the bottom, right? So for me, okay, if I were to bring in a simple Fibonacci retracement, you do see that we have some confluence at this zone, somewhere around $199 to $192. Okay, so that's the key area to keep a very close watch on if you're interested, like myself, to get involved and invest into this company called Visa. Okay, and of course, just a quick disclaimer here as well. I've already have my first position invested. This was back in March last year. Okay, and I got in about 186. Definitely, I'll be looking to add on more position when the pricing is right, the timing is right. Okay, the current position that I have is already up by 8%. Okay, and over here, I would like to share with you again the seasonal trends. So if you see over here for investing, okay, when I want to invest into a company for dividend for the long run, when I look up for seasonal trends, I'm looking for price to drop. Okay, because to me, that's like discount, right? When you go shopping, when you go buy something, you would like to buy it when there's a discount. Okay, same concept in investing. So over here, do take note of this. This is pretty close. Okay, 18th of February to 22nd of March. For the past 12 years, there's a 50% chance that Visa is going to drop by an average of 3.25%. Okay, which means that we might still see this coming down lower a bit, and that is perfect, which means that we have that possibility to get involved as a long-term investment at a much better rate, right? And that might confluence with the pricing, okay, based on technical analysis that we are interested to get involved in. Okay, but at the same time, Visa also present us with a high probability trading opportunity. Okay, so there's a very distinct difference between trading and investing. Trading is for the short run. You go in, you get out, you profit from a price movement, that's it. Investing is perhaps more for the long run, perhaps for dividend. That's what I do. Okay, some of the investors would look at value. Okay, for me, it's purely dividend investing for the long run. So over here on Visa, you can see from the seasonal trends point of view, 29th of January, which is actually this Thursday. Okay, this is a hint for you. Is actually a premium trade signals that we send out for subscribers, but I'm giving you one over here for free. Okay, of course, okay, that's where if you are subscribed to this channel, you get the notification, you watch this video on time, that's where you'll be able to capitalize on the opportunity, right? So but this is actually given out on a weekly basis to our premium subscribers in seasonal trade ideas. Today I'm sharing with you this, okay, since this week there's a coincidence that we are trading this trade on Visa. At the same time, Visa is also the stock in focus, right? So the idea here is that between 29th of January to 17th of February, as you can see on the slides, there's an 80% probability that the average price would rally by about 5%. And this is based on historical patterns, which means for the past 10 years, during this period of 29 January to 17th of Feb, out of the past 10 years, 8 years, Visa actually rally. And if you account for the total 10 years, including the losing years, okay, so you add up all the winnings and the losing, and then you average it out, that gives us a positive average return of 5%. In other words, it's a pretty solid, pretty reliable trade opportunity. Okay, and this is definitely something that I will take. Okay, and of course, we send it out to our subscribers. This exact information and whether they would like to take opportunity of this, it's really up to them. Okay, so the idea here is if you're looking for short-term trading, okay, then what you'll be doing is on the 29th of January, you get in, you purchase Visa, okay, and by 17th of February, you exit. Okay, and if you take a look at this, right, 18th Feb onwards to 22nd of March, that's where Visa has a seasonal trend of coming down. So you do see that right now, short term, it has the potential to rally. Okay, and then from 18th Feb to 22nd of March, there's a high probability it will drop. Okay, so you can see how you know, the difference between trading and investing, the approaches, the framework that we use over here to approach the stock market, right? So I hope in this video here, I'll be able to give you that insights, that perspective. Okay, and of course, if you have yet to subscribe to this channel, please do that. Hit the like button. Okay, if you have some key takeaway or perhaps any particular stock that you'd like me to share a little bit more, do drop it in the comment section below as well. Now, last off here, of course, just a quick advertisement. Okay, for those of you who actually watch this video and you like to get a little bit more active, you like to receive some professional services research, okay, about seasonal trade ideas, we are having this service here where you'll be able to get all this information for just less than $1.99 a day. Okay, and what you get is, of course, the exact stocks to focus and trade for the week, when to get in, when to get out. Okay, so if you'd like to find out a little bit more, just go over to our website at seasonaltrades.com. I'll put the link below in this video as well. All the information is over there. You'll be able to just register, subscribe to it, and you start receiving all these trades that we take ourselves as well. Alright, so with that, I hope this video provided you some valuable insight. Okay, from right now, I'm also trying to put the perspective of like Cathie Wood, ARK Invest, ARK ETF being like the top most popular conversation that a lot of traders and investors have in the stock market. Okay, and I would like to incorporate that into what we do here on the weekly Stocks in Focus, and hope I'm able to give you some insights. Okay, and ideally here is to not only help you search out for profitable opportunities to trade and invest, but at the same time to give you the educational framework, that process, in order to help you become the profitable investor and trader that you always wanted to be. Alright, so with that, we'll end off this video over here, and I'll see you guys in the next episode of Stocks In